geologists? Well, I'll say mysteries may not be the right word, but there's differing opinions to how they actually formed. Now we do know that the Pinnacles are limestone formations. We know that those limestone formations occurred millions of years ago when seashell sediments were washed ashore. Those seashell sediments were then leached. The lime from the shells was leached down into the soil over hundreds of thousands of years to form a limestone belt. And that limestone belt I mentioned earlier actually stretches from up north of Geraldton near Kalbarri all the way down southwest down near Albany. So big limestone belt down around the coast. Now in this particular region here, at one stage we had lush forests. So much the same as the forests around the edge of Perth, lots of nice big tall trees. At one stage there was forests growing in this region. Now we're talking hundreds of thousands of years ago. Now those forests then sent their roots down into that limestone-rich soil. Now the roots running down into that limestone-rich soil essentially put cracks in the soil into that limestone and allowed water to follow those roots down. So now here's where the scientists differ. They all agree it's limestone. They all agree that there was forest there. Now the difference is some scientists believe that once the roots went down, it made holes in the ground which allowed water to come down, and essentially directly beneath the trees you had limestone that was sort of held together by the tree roots that had come down, and the stuff around where the trees were, once the trees had died and the sand had been eroded away, the stuff around it eroded away first because the stuff that had tree roots over the outside of it had been chemically altered slightly to be more resistant. That's one theory. The other theory is that where the tree roots went down, that made the holes, and the bits that are left are the bits where there wasn't trees. So it's just whichever way you look at it. One belief is that the Pinnacles are actually directly beneath trees. Oh, and there's a third belief, and that is actually that the limestone pillars are actually a petrified forest of sorts. That's a little bit less, has a little bit less scientific leaning towards that one. So of sorts, a petrified forest of sorts. So essentially that the pillars themselves were parts of the trees. You can see the tree roots on the outsides of some of these trees, outside of some of these pillars. You will also see sea fossils, little fossils of sponges and things like that, indicating yes, there was sea life deposited here at some stage. It is very likely that this area has been underwater more than once. So some of that limestone may have had fresh limestone deposited on top of it. So over periods of time, the sea level has risen and fallen. So this area would have been underwater probably as recently as 50,000 years ago. Well, geologically, that's very recent. So when Aboriginal people first came into this area, these may have actually been underwater. Not necessarily the pillars, but the actual limestone on top. Now our last ice age started around 30,000 years ago, and Australia got much, much drier for a period of 20,000 years. Between 30,000 and 10,000 years ago, Australia went through its driest period until now. I mean, we're actually in a wetter period now than we were 10,000 years ago. So as we're coming up closer, you'll see, if you look out to the left, you'll see some little baby ones. These are ones we prepared earlier. These are the mini pinnacles, and we'll be getting into the main area in just a moment.